Mobilization, the gathering of resources and the preparation for war. In April of 1918, Woodrow Wilson formed the National War Labor Board. The National War Labor Board, dealt with businesses, labor for those businesses, and then turning public opinion. The leader of the National War Labor Board was this man, 27th President of the United States, William Howard Taft. If you can remember, he was the one that got stuck in the bathtub. The National War Labor Board dealt with 1,200 cases. So they dealt with different cases where workers were striking against their bosses or arguing out against their bosses. And if you can remember, this was pretty popular at that time because they were fighting for a better work environment, lesser hours, higher pay. At this time, the National War Labor Board stepped in as the arbitrator. What an arbitrator does is you have two sides, two disputing sides, and you bring in a neutral third party that kind of comes in and tries to solve everything. Well, what happened was they made sure that by the end, the workers took a no-strike pledge, that during wartime, that the workers could not strike. What did they get? The National War Labor Board made sure that workers got wage increase. They established an 8-hour workday. There were extra pay for overtime. There was equal pay for women, and that the labor unions were recognized. Now you may be thinking, how did they get all of these arguments? How did they get all of this established? Well, the truth is that it would have never happened, not all of them at one time, unless there was war going on. So, at this time, there was a labor crisis. You have to imagine that all of the men left their jobs to fight for a cause they believed in. At this time, there weren't that many immigrants coming over to our country, so we couldn't give them the jobs. So there were these new job opportunities, lots of job openings. Who took them? Women and African Americans. They took advantage of the openings. Between 1914 and 1920, about 500,000 African Americans moved into urban areas seeking better jobs. The only problem is that the jobs weren't that great. What they faced when they got the jobs was racial prejudice and harsh working conditions. And that culminated in East St. Louis in 1917. It's one of the worst race riots this country has ever seen. Gaining support. Meet George Creel. He was head of the Committee on Public Information. Their slogan was that we were in a fight, that the war was a battle for democracy and freedom. The Committee on Public Information used propaganda, they used pamphlets, they used newspaper articles, they created posters like the ones that we've been seeing, and they wrote books to try to change the public opinion. Because when you're in politics, if you don't have the public behind you, it's very hard to see everything through. There were also these short patriotic talks. 4-minute speeches is what they were called. They were given by 4-minute men. They had 75,000 members in over 5,000 communities that gave over 750,000 speeches. They would do this before plays and movies. Now most of the time, all the time, when you go to movies today, what happens? You sit there and you watch the new movie trailers or the previews for the upcoming films. What these men did is they stood up, they would give their speech, and they would try to convince people to get behind the war. Here, 8 of the men that participated, along with speakers, writers, artists, and actors. Propaganda. I'm sure everyone has seen this poster. And if you go down to the 6th grade hallway on your way to Spanish or French or art, you will see a poster very similar to this outside Miss Iring's door. Except hers says, "I want you for science and math." Okay, a little play on modern education. But this figure here, that you've probably seen many times, okay, is a national personification. This is Uncle Sam. If you look closely, right, the first image you probably conjure up or you think of is Abraham Lincoln. If you look a little closer, you'll also see Jefferson and maybe a little bit of Washington. Okay, this image became very famous because it was this man, okay, this person, this personification, right, this image that wanted you. He wanted you, wanted people to join whatever armed forces they had on the poster, right? Only the Navy can stop this. All right, some other posters. All right, here's Uncle Sam playing baseball. All right, now this time he's asking for people to join the Navy. As you can see, all of the pictures are always surrounded by red, white, and blue. Okay? Colors of our flag. Very patriotic, very nationalistic. All right. One of the other things that propaganda posters did was play on men's emotions. All right? So here we have a woman, okay, very nice looking woman, who's saying, "Gee, I wish I were a man. All right, I'd join the Navy." So as to play on that courageous side of men. Okay, so saying, well, if you don't join the Navy, are you really a man? Because this woman would do it. So really to attack men's pride. Okay, and then this is just about country depending on workers. Okay, more about people doing their duty. All right, supporting Pershing, General Pershing, and their Crusaders. As you can see in the background, it's almost like the ghost of the Crusaders. All right, the second poster I really like because here you have the Navy, the Army, and then the man in the middle is obviously the blue-collared worker. So together we can accomplish anything. So you have by land, by water, and then on our own shores working hard to get them the supplies they need. Okay, again, teamwork wins. Here's the man making the weapon that the soldiers are going to need. All right, the Red Cross, hold up your end. All right, we're going to help support our troops. Please do the same. I'll stop right there.